Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Stephen Curry admits Celtics remind him of his dynastic Warriors. On Sunday, the Celtics became the first team in NBA history to notch 350-plus point wins in the same season. After routing the Pacers 155-104 and the Nets 136-86 earlier in the season, Boston dismantled the Warriors 140-88 to improve their league-best record to 48-12. Boston's demolition of Golden State was so brutal that, with his team down 44 at the break, Stephen Curry sat out the entire second half. In doing so, Curry couldn't help but look at Joe Mazzulla's Celtics in the same light as his dynastic 2015-18 Warriors teams that would routinely demolish opponents. They seem very sure of themselves and their identity and who they are, Curry said of the Celtics. When you're hitting 10 threes in the first quarter, that's what we used to do to teams. It's kind of demoralizing, especially on the road. When asked if the Celtics were extra motivated to avenge their loss from the 2022 NBA Finals, Curry pointed out that they've met several times since. I don't know what they talked about in the locker room. We've played them 4 times since, so I'm sure that narrative has gotten old. But they are the best team in the league right now. For perspective, even those 2015-18 Warriors teams never registered 350-plus point wins in the same season. The only other teams to register even 250-plus point wins were the 1992-93 Sacramento Kings and the 1978-79 Milwaukee Bucks, per ESPN Stats and Information. The Celtics are nearly invincible right now. During their ongoing 11-game winning streak, they're hammering teams by an average of 22 points. For the season, their 11.42-point differential ranks as the 5th best in NBA history, behind only the 2016-17 Warriors, 11.63, 1995-96 Bulls, 12.24, the 1970-71 Bucks, 12.26, and the 1971-72 Lakers, 12.28. Guess what those dominant teams did? They raised banners. Draymond Green, Warriors explained odd defensive strategy on Jaylen Brown. Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown continuously found himself wide open on the perimeter in the first quarter of Sunday's matchup against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors surprisingly wanted it that way, and Brown sure made them pay for the puzzling defensive strategy. Brown poured in 19 of his game-high 29 points in the opening frame as Boston demolished Golden State, 140-88, at TD Garden. 8-time All-Defensive selection Draymond Green was matched up on Brown but severely sagged off the Celtics forward, daring him to shoot. Brown obliged and knocked down 5 of 9 triples in the stanza, including sinking a tray on 3 straight possessions to spark a 23-1 run to end the quarter. Green said the Warriors came up with the perplexing tactic to guard Brown that way just before the game. We implemented the strategy like 15 minutes before we left the locker room, Green told reporters, per The Athletic's Anthony Slater. I don't necessarily think we put together a full defensive strategy to debate on what they're doing with their offense and how to stop it. Green added, hey, it ain't work. Oh well. We move on. I thought it was fun to try. I was actually all for it. Like, let's try it and see if it works. If it don't, oh well. If it does, we found something. Alright, it ain't work. So we move on. Warriors superstar Steph Curry revealed Golden State was trying to find a weak spot in Boston's offense, which owns the best offensive rating in the NBA. Obviously, Brown's outside shooting wasn't it as even without Kristaps Porzingis. The Celtics scored a franchise-record 82 points in the first half. It was kind of a joint decision, coaching staff, obviously the leaders on the team to try something different, Curry told reporters, per CLNS Media's Bobby Manning. They've been playing at a high level and a team that has that many threats, you try to find some weak spot to see if it will throw them off a little bit. Obviously, it didn't work, and it affected our offense a little bit tonight. No regrets on how we approached it. Again, a good learning lesson for us to take the hit that we took tonight but not let it linger into another game. Like Green and Curry, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, who was ready to move on from the lopsided loss after the defeat, explained it was an experimental defense that Golden State deployed. Safe to say, it was a failed experiment, as Kerr also pointed to another area in which Golden State lapsed defensively that proved costly. You try different things, Kerr told reporters, per Slater. You have to pick your matchups. We wanted Draymond to be able to help on drives and make sure we weren't giving up easy stuff in the paint. The killer was the transition, from the beginning all the way to the end. They got 42 transition points. You're not winning a game with that kind of lack of defensive awareness. Jaylen Brown savagely mocks the Warriors for making a strategic error after 52-point win. Jaylen Brown was the architect of the Celtics' 52-point win over the Warriors, scoring 29 points in just 22 minutes of action. Steve Kerr revealed that the Warriors intentionally sagged off Brown's three-point attempts to try and cover everyone else off, a decision they'd come to regret. Brown joked about the same on social media, saying more teams should use this strategy as well. More teams should take this strategy. Brown went 5-10 from three-point range, helping the Celtics open up a massive 44-point first-half lead. This lead was enough to make Golden State bench everybody on their team at halftime with the hopes that the next game would lead to a win. Kerr explained the full reason behind why the Warriors decided to sag off Brown's three-point attempts. You try different things. You have to pick your matchups. We wanted to be able to help on drives and make sure we weren't giving up easy stuff in the paint. The killer was the transition from beginning to end. They got 42 transition points. You can't win a game with that kind of lack of defensive awareness. Brown led all scorers from the Celtics with his 29-point night, followed by Jason Tatum dropping 27 points himself. They played 12 players on the night, with each playing over 10 minutes, showing the scale of the blowout. The entire fourth quarter was garbage time for them, with the Warriors treating the second half as a non-factor by subbing in the bench. Golden State didn't even try to fight back, as the Celtics are now on an 11-game win streak, running away with the best record in the league. It's becoming clear that this season's title race may come down to Celtics versus the entire league, as no team looks even remotely competitive with the Boston-based franchise. They hold an 8.5-game lead over the second-seeded Milwaukee Bucks and a 6.5-game lead over the OKC Thunder, Denver Nuggets, and Minnesota Timberwolves in the West. Jason Tatum is being pushed for MVP because of the Celtics' domination. He's averaging 27.1 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 4.8 assists in a great season, but the reason for Boston's success isn't Tatum by any stretch. The entire team has been healthy and performing at an incredibly high level, with Joe Mazzulla orchestrating a soccer-like system that is making the Celtics unbeatable. Tatum shouldn't be considered MVP just because the Celtics are the best team in the NBA, because it is a disservice to the sensational supporting cast around him. Brown is averaging 22.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.7 assists as one of the best two-way swing men in the league. Derek White and Drew Holiday have formed the best defensive backcourt in the NBA, while Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 20.3 points and 6.9 rebounds in one of the best seasons of his career. If they remain healthy, this unit will run over the East and be favored to beat anyone in the West. We've seen the Celtics fall apart in the postseason despite being favorites before, so the pressure will be immense for the players and the franchise to finally deliver on winning the franchise's 18th championship. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation, Jaylen Brown? Leave your opinion in the comments.